there. Is there a tell? If he likes it.
No, I don't think
That's crazy.
I don't think I could. I think I just, from the minute, because he was Lenny, I mean, he got to work at like 2, or, you know, so for about 4 or 5 hours before anyone else got there to do the makeup that would get him to be Lenny. So by the time we got to set, he was like, by the camera, smoking, and he was Lenny. And so I never, like, there were 2 days where he was Bradley, so I never really, so it would be weird. So I'd see him on days where I'd see him, like, on the weekend, I'd go over for a play date with the kids. I'd be like, oh, you. Like, I just didn't, you know, so it was. And in terms of the, like, services, like, it was cellular. It was like from the head to the toe, everything was, so that there was no, I didn't see lines in between.
Bradley, it's so cool. That's so insanely cool that you can do that and have your brain going on all these different levels at the same time. Were you aware? What was your plain old director plus actor process? Let's just start here. Go for it. Ready, go.
Okay, so Alias. For real. I think I always was obsessed with the...
He was always obsessed. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna...
No, you go. You do.
You guys, he's talked so much. Isn't it a relief? He was always obsessed.
I grew up, movies defined who I was. I can mark periods of my life by the movies that affected me. And then I always wanted to be a part of that storytelling, but I didn't give myself permission really to dream big enough to make movies. I just thought maybe I could act in them. But it was really David Lynch as much as it was Anthony Hopkins and John Hurt in The Elephant Man that moved me. So it's just the way I'm wired, really. And so to be able to do this now and show you is...
Wow.
Convey all that in a very short bit of real estate in the movie, and again, what a gift to have these actors. And you know, from the first time when he does introduce them, and I said early on, you know, we're just going to stay. You know, we're just going to stay. We didn't even shoot Lenny. I just wanted to hear Lenny say, "Was that insensitive of me?" I guess, you know. And we're just on David, and because I could only do that as a filmmaker because of the actors, and just staying on him and his face in that moment when he introduces them and they walk away, and you know, what a gift for a filmmaker.
Well, while I'm talking about the two of you, do you guys mind if I jump around? Thanks.
Where they're catching up on each other's lives, and we did it a couple times, and I was like, all this shit's just getting in the way. We're just there. It's lit, and I could feel it. And again, that's a testament to Mark Bridges, the costume designer, what we were wearing, all the work that he had done, and I just thought, fuck it, let's not say a thing. Let's just take this walk down Central Park. And that was it. The minute that happened, the whole scene exploded. And then they just stopped, and that was, you know, that was it.
That's what I was speaking to about working with Bradley, though, that's so exciting. You know, the scene that you were first speaking about when I meet Felicia, that was the last take we did, and he basically improvised all of that off camera for the first time, and that's what's in the movie.
So you thought.
We had this big walk and talk, yeah, exactly. But then we had this big walk and talk, and we just, you know, decided to take that risk and do it without any words. And you can just trust him and you know, jump off the cliff with him, and he's there to catch you, which is amazing.
So crazy bold, truly one of the most beautiful moments.
Can I just say one thing? Sorry. I just, like, shooting outside in any city can be, but in New York when you're playing Leonard Bernstein, like, there were probably, I wasn't there, but when we shot in Central Park, there's like 50 million people just off camera watching, going, oh my God, it's Matt Bomer, Brad Cooper, and like 25 paparazzi. I mean, like, to be able to distill everything and just be in the moment and believe, and I just think it's...
Well, you're saying that, but my memory of it, quite honestly, is that I don't even remember the cameras. I just remember us walking. I really do. That was it, too.
Really first brings Felicia to meet her brother at the party. It's kind of like, I'm showing Felicia, like, look what I have, you know, and look what I brought. You know, there's something, you know, Shirley needed to kind of be in the center of it, I think, inside, because that's all she has. It's like her whole life molded around her brother, and that's how it is with him. You know, he's a force. And then as time passed on, so in that way, I think it was a little frenemy-ish. And then as time went on, we became, I think, war pals, and we understood each other, and there's a deep love.
I don't think it was, it was sort of a deeply complicated relationship all the way, because Lenny was the centre of Shirley's life, and then she became the centre of Felicia's life, but you can't hold both of those two things. And I think in our telling of it, I think if you ask the family, it was maybe in always a very complicated relationship. I think there was kind of a really lovely coming together that Bradley and Josh wrote into that palm court scene, that they have got to the point where they know each other that well that they can...
Really was. This relationship was an example of what his effect on people, and how eventually they would band together in order to survive. And like, for example, in that scene in the Dakota, part of his charm, I mean, he was so many different things at once, you could never peg him in any way.
Okay, yes.
It moves through her body, and he's like, well, any which way, I guess. And then he actually thinks about it. Well, I guess we'd have some pitch variations, and he's talking about farting, who is the music director of the LA Philharmonic. Well, yes. Who I just showed today at my house. He just saw it this morning, which it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. So I knew early on that the Mahler's Second Symphony, The Resurrection, which is what we conducted in Ely Cathedral live, that was really 6 minutes and 21 seconds of music. And so I spent a whole, from first rehearsal all the way to the final performance, when he did that with the LA Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl. And then 2.5 years later, I went with him to Berlin and spent 2 weeks with him with the Berlin Philharmonic, where he did the exact same piece. And then there's also I got the raw footage. Lenny did that in that cathedral with the London Symphony Orchestra in the 70s, and I have him conducting that. And then Yannick Seglin, who is the Philadelphia music director of the Philadelphia Orchestra, and also the music director of the Met Opera in New York, he was also a major component and was there on set when we had to do those scenes. And then he also made videos, and he helped keep time and all of that. And I just did everything I absolutely could. I also spent years at the New York Philharmonic, opened the doors. I would go there 3 or 4 nights a week, every week. I just absolutely, Michael Tilson Thomas was a great influence, and spent a lot of time, and he took some of the little parts of the movie that are in there are stories that he told me. And Jaap also, who's the music director of the New York Philharmonic. I could go on and on. Yeah, I just did a lot of work.
That is so evident. Yes, thank you. That deserves.
And if you're calm and open and you've done the work, it will come to you. And I brought the techno crane in, and I thought, what's the scene about? It's about her being there, seeing him, and that there's no hate in his heart. And we did one last take, and I said thank you to the orchestra. I said thank you to Lenny. And in that take, which is in the movie, it's just one take of that setup, I actually conducted them properly. And the timpanist came running down. He said, everything we did yesterday was total shit. You can't use any of it. And I was like, no, you really fucked it up. You didn't conduct us. And I was like, no, I know, we're not gonna use it. Good, okay. Well, you just conducted us. Well, you just did, you did it. I was like, I know. And that was it. Yeah, it was amazing. What the director could do was make me feel like I'm completely safe to do whatever I want, and at the same time, they're guiding me to do exactly what they want. It's like this double-edged thing. And that's the thing I asked of everybody, like, please, you have to give over to me completely, and at the same time, I'll make sure you're never acting, and you'll feel as free as hopefully you've ever felt. And Carey signed on first 4 years ago, and I asked that of her before there was a script. When I just said it's going to be a movie about marriage, will you come do it, please? And then I said, can you come to Philadelphia? And we narrated Candide for free, and for 6 days, and she came, and we did it. We just started building this relationship, and then we worked tirelessly with Tim. Tim Monick moved into my house. We worked 5 days a week for 4.5 years, really 5.5. I was still, Stars Born hadn't come out yet, and I was working with Tim Monick. And then she came on, and I would FaceTime her at all hours of the day as Lenny. I'm like, she's probably like, can we not do this right now?
Bradley, you FaceTimed everybody.
I did.
That wasn't, you're not special, Carey. Everyone heard from Lenny. We all heard from Lenny.
It's true. I was excited. I was like, I'm getting the voice.
Yeah. And the voice was, watching the voice evolve and change. The only time I hear you is when you laugh.
Yeah.
Ever. You don't sound, it's crazy. Okay, go ahead.
So then we did this, I really love this dream work that I learned from Elizabeth Kemp in grad school that was taught to her by Sandra Seacat, who's an incredible teacher who just recently passed away. And we did this dream workshop. I asked Carey to do it, which really is just about like, let's get to a place, I don't know if it's possible, where we can show each other our souls in the most vulnerable possible way that we're bonded for life. I know that sounds kind of heavy, but it's actually what happens. And she did it, and like, you know, we saw sides of each other that like we're just gonna take to the grave. But it bonded us in a way, and I felt so free after that. I thought, well, that she knows me completely. And that was it. But after that, I had no fear about us. I always knew her ability as an actor, but I didn't know that would we have this connection. And after that, it was sealed.
And in that workshop, I mean, the whole week was kind of extraordinary. It was really, it took all the fear out of everything, because by the end of it, we were just, you know, ready. But one of the motifs in the film of us sitting back to back came from that workshop. Yeah, that was something that kind of just came from our work, and I love it so much in the film.
For many years, you know, I was able to sort of explore the public element of their life cinematically rather than talking about it so much. So I always wanted this voyeuristic quality where you almost feel like you're watching something that you shouldn't be watching. And at the same time, I didn't want the audience to feel safe. I mean, when I would watch my parents fight as a kid, I never was in between the two of them looking at either one in a close-up. I was with my sister, you know, 15, 20 feet away. It's just sort of, you know, that's where that came out of originally, was wanting that feeling. But again, she says, you know, very difficult to put, I don't know, it was a 5-page scene, 5.5-page scene. Luckily, I wrote it like 5 years ago. That was one of the scenes that never changed. That like sort of came to me, and then that was it. And so we had that. That was really in your DNA at that point. That said, you know, it's just because it's Carey Mulligan, her ability to run that scene, and I could stay in that wide, kind of for the punchline. It wouldn't work if I went to close-ups, came back for the Snoopy reveal. I mean, it had to. It was also that. I mean, the joke only works if you stay in the wide. But not the main reason. Maybe it was to do it. But really, it was, and that was, I mean, that is, and also the whole movie is sort of leading to that scene. And so if we didn't get that scene, the movie's not gonna work.
And it's kind of a love scene, right?